Quick disclaimer before I start this video. If I ever criticise low carb diets for any reason, I tend to get a barrage of abuse. So for the record, I have no issue with low carb diets. I've used them extensively with myself and with clients. I think they're potentially a good tool. But the way that many people implement them nowadays makes no fucking sense at all, and it's important to clear this up. So I'm going to give you a common sense approach to low carb dieting and a poor approach to low carb dieting. So a few years ago, this is how a conversation with a client would tend to go. Ben, I've read about this low carb diet thing and I want to give it a go. It sounds interesting. What do you think? Okay, not a problem. Talk me through what you've got planned. So from what I can gather, I can't have bread, cereal, pasta, rice, grains, pizza, I guess a lot of junk food, so I guess chocolate, ice cream, donuts, waffles, cakes, biscuits, I guess all of those are out as well. From what I can gather, I will probably eat more meat, more fish, and more vegetables. What do you think? Does that sound something that you could stick to? Does it sound easy enough for you? Yeah, I'd like to give it a go. That's it. Nothing fucking magical. People would take carbs out of their diet and probably find themselves leaning towards protein sources. That's a common way of approaching it. And of course, if you get rid of carbs from your diet, that does mean a lot of hyperpalatable foods that people can overeat on also disappear. You can't have cookies and biscuits and cakes and chocolates and all of those things. So if you tell someone's gone a low carb diet, they will often reduce their calories and increase their protein. It works for weight loss. But here is what happens nowadays, and I've seen this a lot, I'm not exaggerating. So I read this author and he said that as long as I have low carbs, my body won't produce insulin and I won't gain fat. So I just need to go on an ultra high fat diet and I will just shed body fat. I mean, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but talk me through what you're thinking. So for breakfast, I was thinking of having a lot of streaky bacon, eggs with the yolks, of course. I would deep fry that in butter, have some extra avocado. Then I'd have coffee with coconut and MCT oil added in. Wait. Are you sure you aren't getting carried away with the amount of fat? No. As long as I'm avoiding carbs, my body won't produce insulin and the fat will just melt off me. I mean, there's a real ceiling there that you're kind of missing. Like, you can't just eat as many fats as you want. There is still a caloric limit of what you're doing. No, the article I read said as long as I'm not consuming carbs, I can eat as much fat as I want. I mean, strictly that really isn't how it works. But you know, that's fine. Let's move on. What would you have next? So mid-morning, I'd probably have another coffee with extra coconut oil and MCT oil again. If I wanted something as a snack, I'd have probably a fat bomb. Wait, stop the bus. Did you say a fat bomb? What the fuck is a fat bomb? So a fat bomb is where you get loads of high fat foods and you mix them together. So for example, if I wanted a sweet one, I would maybe get some heavy whipping cream, some ice cream, maybe some peanut or some almond butter, maybe some extra butter or some eggs or something like that, coconut oil. Wait. What? That sounds fucking ridiculous. Why would you do that? Because I'm flooding my body with healthy fats, which promote fat loss, and they don't have carbs in, so my body won't produce insulin. That really isn't how it works at all. That is literally a conversation that I've had with people. So people are mixing two concepts up. Carbohydrate restriction is one thing, and if you restrict your carbs, comparatively, this means that you go on a higher fat diet. As a ratio, lower carbs mean higher fat. This does not mean that you can consume as much dietary fat as you want. It does not mean that the more dietary fat you consume, the more body fat you lose. That just isn't how it works even a little bit. So from research, we know that if calories are the same between two diets and protein is the same between two diets, the carbohydrate to fat ratio between those makes very little to zero difference on fat loss. So if you favour low carb diets and it's good for adherence, by all means go for that. I could not give two shits. I don't care what diet people go on. I'm not trying to sell you my own dietary ebook. But I want you to succeed. So if you want to do a low carb diet, fine, go ahead. Just please do it with some common sense. Because the way that some people are doing it nowadays just doesn't make any sense at all.